Synthpop Grandad's weekly Wotsit!
Well, hello and welcome to the weekly Wotsit. So, we started with good intentions, didn't we? Got about five weeks in, and then a big gap till this one. But hopefully we're back on track now. We might not exactly be weekly, but I'll do my best. But first, coffee. Oh, if you want a coffee mug like this, then they're available from my website. That's jeffmccallmusic.com/store, and you can get your very own Jeff Says Choose Synthpop coffee mug. Okay, let's go on to the business of today. So this episode then is about songwriting by accident, and I often start writing a song, and I get the sort of like the kernel of an idea of a song, and I think, oh, I need to stop now and record a video to show how this particular song took shape, and then I get so far into the songwriting that the song just develops and develops, and then by the time I think, oh, I can go back to that, it's too late because the original idea has grown so much there's nothing there to sort of focus on. So this time I made a concerted effort that I kept the original idea for the song as a separate file, and this song is very much developed on the basis of accidents. Now there's a word in the English dictionary, serendipity. I don't know if you've heard it. I've got a definition here. There you go. Serendipity, the occurrence and development of events by chance in a happy or beneficial way. And I always think of the word serendipity as a happy accident in a way. In actual fact, it'd probably make a good album title. I might have to think about that for the next album. But yeah, so this song basically developed from a series of happy accidents. So what I'm going to do is try and sort of recreate those accidents and show you how things came about. So let's dive into the sequencer, and hopefully you'll find this interesting. Okay, so here we are in my digital audio workstation window, which, as I mentioned before, is a program called Propellerhead Reason. You can see I've got it set up so I've got the rack and the sequencer in the same window, just to make it easier to see stuff. Now over time I've collected a lot of instrument and effect plugins, and also got rack extensions, which are the Reason, the plugins specifically for Reason, and you get stuck in your ways and tend to use the same things that you're familiar with. So on this particular occasion I thought I would search through my instruments and look and try and discover something new, try and use something that I hadn't used before, see how they sound. So I found this synthesizer plugin, if I open the window here, and this is called Tau Noisemaker, and this is actually a free plugin. You can just go to the Tau site and download it. It doesn't cost anything. And the reason that I thought I'd try this one in particular is because it's it's quite an old plugin. It's an old synth, so it's analog, and the analog sound is what typifies the music I make, the retro's 80s synth pop, because back in the 80s all the original synthesizers are all analog. So you can see here, I've opened up the synth, and the first thing is, right, I want to hear how it sounds, so I need to load the presets. Now this is supposed to come with built-in presets, so I thought simply that if I click on this load preset button down here, which I did here, you can see opens a window. It basically just opens a folder on my hard drive with no presets. So I'm thinking, well, that's pretty strange. So what I did is I went on Google and I googled Tell Noisemaker presets, and I found a file of presets that somebody else had made. So I thought, well, I'll upload those, because I couldn't find the original presets that are supposed to come with the program. I did spend a bit of time trying to find out where they were, and I couldn't find them. So anyway, I put this file here, Tell Noisemaker, open that, and here you can see all of the presets, and the first one at the very top says ARP, which means it's an arpeggiator, and it's called Fifth Gate. So I loaded that into the synth like you do. So I hit a key on the keyboard. I thought, oh, that's not a bad sound, so I hit a few more keys. So I thought, well, that sounds quite interesting. I might have something there. So what I did, so I entered that into the sequencer on this first line here that I've soloed, and this is what we have to begin with. And that just repeats on an 8-bar loop. So it's a 4-bar sequence that repeats on an 8-bar loop, because what I wanted to do was set up an 8-bar section of a song, and then you can use that and to arrange the song with. So what it needed next was some drums. So basically I just pulled up this rhythmic kit, which is a basic drum kit that comes with Reason. And just put a 4 to the floor. 4 to the floor is bass drum on 4 beats and the snare drum on 2 beats. So with that, we've got this. It gives it a bit of life. And then I put thought I will put a basic bass line on. So I've loaded this monotone bass synth, which is also comes in the Reason rack, and I just put a single note, a repeating note on 8th beats, and that sounded like this. So we've got a bit of a groove, we've got something starting there, a bit of a groove, not a very interesting bass line, but I just left it at that stage. And then coming back to it a short while later, I just noticed when I looked at here that the preset that I'd put before had appeared in this little window here. And so I clicked on that, and lo and behold, all of the sounds that came with the synthesizer that I couldn't find, all of the presets that came with the original files, are in here and are accessible through there. So I thought, well, I need to have a listen to those, and the next one on the line, or the first one of the factory presets, is this one, ARP 250 Punk Tau, right? So I thought, well, I'll leave this version here, because I'm quite happy with that. So I loaded up another version, and I put in this ARP 250 Tau. and I thought, hit a key, see how that sounds. Oh, sorry, we're on the wrong, we need to put the keyboard on this one. Which I thought was a really interesting bass sound. So what I did is I put two variations, recorded two variations. So if I take my just beating bass line off and this one, so adding that sound to what I had before, this is what I ended up with. As you can imagine, that's a little bit more of an interesting bass line than what I had previously. So we've got two sections, one that was just on a single note, and then a second one that I decided to run the notes the opposite way to the way that the sequencer was running, the original sequence. So when that original sequence drops down, the bass line goes up and vice versa. So so that's where we were, and the next thing was to actually look at the drums, because it's just the 4 to the floor drums. That's not very interesting. So one of the other things that I'd got recently when I upgraded Reason to the 11 suite was this thing. I don't know how you pronounce this. UMPF, UMPF, UMPF Club Drums. So I thought, right, let's give this a try. The first kit that came up that I looked at was this power kit, and this is what the sounds are like. So you've got nice thumpy bass drum, clap instead of a snare, hi-hat, open hi-hat, and then congas, and then a go-go. And I thought, right, another thing that I've got as well that I haven't used before on Reason is this drum sequencer player. So I loaded this up with the UMPF drums, and I looked at the presets, and this one jumped out at me. It was called Tom Groove. So let's take the drums off of, oh no, and I left the other drums playing because obviously there was no snare on here. So running that together, this is what we ended up with these extra drums put on. So really nice bass drum, nice clubby bass drum there, and lots of extra little bits of percussion that sort of fitted in there that were nice. And because the original rhythmic drums were playing, the two bass drums reinforced each other, and the snare seemed to work on here. So that's what we had. And then I went away and I was thinking about it, and I just got this sort of melody that came into my head. So, as I always do with melodies, let's see if I can find it on here. I just load in this stock piano, and I've got this player that plays chords. So anyway, this was if I just hit this last one, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll take all of those off. It should play. You don't want that one. You don't want the bass. So listen to the piano just as a single note. So you can see we're starting to build up a bit of a track there, and let's turn this back down. And I had a look, and I worked out in my head that the key was probably D major. Turns out that it wasn't, but so I put D major in the scales, and what this does then is this plays the chords based, so you don't need to play the chords, you just play the single note, and this is what it turned into. So you can see it's got a bit of a groove to it, it's coming on. So then I left it for a little while longer, and I had these first little bits, these first lines, so I wanted to try to start expanding this and come up with an arrangement so that I can separate it into, say, your intro, your verse, chorus and breaks and outro and things like that, come up with the actual structure of the song. And as I was listening to it more, I was thinking, it would be really nice if I could use sort of like do something different and use a vocal sample of somebody else singing, and I quite like the idea of this sort of female, not actually necessarily singing words, but a female vocal that was sort of doing sort of like an Arabic sort of like drone type thing. So I was having a look through my sample library, and I came across this vocal sample. I'll just play it for you on its own.
You need somebody. You need somebody.
Which I thought sounded really good. I mean, it was the timing of the singing was all out for my track, but I took that and immediately it gave me an idea for a chorus in the song. So I was able to like splice that all up and move the individual bits around to get it in time with my track. And basically from that point on, once I had that, I recorded a guide vocal, had a title for the track called Somebody, and so what I want to do is I want to show you where we got to. So we moved from that 8-bar loop to this, which is near enough a completed song actually. And what I want to do now is I'll just play you the first part of the song, the intro, the verse and the chorus, and you can hear out where all the other parts the initial bits fit into it. So here we go, see what you think. Okay, so there's that bass line coming in. And this is some of the rhythm sections from that club drums that are coming in the background. I've added the shakers and the stick. And you can see up here on this line the ARP's going to come in now, which was that first line that I created. Here we go.
Look at you. The things we do. What's in your heart?
Up here, this is the piano part, doesn't come into the back end of the chorus. the vocal loop that I changes up on this line.
Don't push me away. You push me away. Don't you want me to stay? You need somebody. You need somebody. You need somebody. You need somebody.
And there we go. So that's how this song came about. And this song, as you can imagine, is called Somebody. And this will probably be on my next album. So let's go back to screen there. Yeah, so I hope you found that interesting. Hope you liked the song. And you know, you can see how you can create things just by accident, which is pretty amazing. So remember, serendipity, happy accident. That's all I've got for now. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Okay, so here's what you need to do. Click on the red subscribe button below and to the right of this video, and it will go grey, and a little bell icon will appear to the right. Click on the bell icon and that will go dark grey, and you're done.